You've all heard that the net worth of a renter is 40 times less than that of a homeowner. But the question is why? We all know that mortgages cost a little bit more, you have more responsibility, so why is the net worth difference so great? Let's dive into this and more next. What's up everybody, Jeremy Kane, eXp Realty. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, like, comment, subscribe, but let's dive into this because it's something that I'm super passionate about. And according to Google, the net worth of a homeowner is 40 times greater than that of a renter. And the question is why? And the word that comes to mind when that is asked is the word equity. Obviously, you are buying a home, usually with a mortgage, usually with very little cash down. And you can get into that and start building your wealth. Whether you're a single mom with, a limited down payment, or, you're a family of 4 or 5 or whatever, and you're just trying to get out of the renting world, you can do that with limited to no money down, which is super awesome. We can talk about that. But then turning these real estate properties into investments is pretty cool. The most successful real estate investors say they will never sell one of the homes they buy. And that's pretty cool. And that's, has all sorts of benefits, obviously, with our current tax code and that kind of stuff. We don't have to dive into that. I'm not an accountant. But that word equity, right? So say your mortgage is, $500 more than the average rent, which is, sometimes pretty possible with, the low down payment loans with mortgage insurance and all of that stuff. We don't have to bore you with that. Let's just say it's $500 cheaper, and still that net worth 40 times greater is something that kind of boggles your mind. But when you think about it on the surface, it's only because the equity, and you are paying every single month, even though it's partial at the beginning when you're paying a lot towards interest and all that front end stuff. When your payment, less than half of your monthly payment actually goes towards your principal buy down at the beginning of the loan. But you're paying that down, you're like, okay, whatever. And then, the furnace goes out and you have to pay for that. And you're like, still the net worth, like, how's that even possible? And as we continue to talk about this, you're continuing to buy that principal down. But the other key to equity is that appreciation. In the Denver metro area, the average appreciation over the last 40, 50, 60 years is 6%. We've seen much higher over the last couple years with those record low interest rates that we were so used to. Obviously, those have shot up and those are kind of a thing of the past. And that just kind of affected our cash flow a little bit. But real estate investment is still something that's so powerful because of the equity. And so that makes sense, right? You're paying into kind of your own long-term savings account versus paying into, your landlord's or mine if you're one of my tenants watching this. But the thing is that it provides so much flexibility. And that's the true back-end security of owning real estate investment properties, is because as that principal gap gets smaller and your equity, your appreciation goes up and that equity grows, you have so much flexibility. You can take another loan out against the property. You can do a cash out refi, you can do a HELOC, you can sell the property and maybe move up and use the money and leverage that more and more as you go. And so there's so much flexibility there, right? So if I fell on hard times, couldn't sell any more houses, I have 6 homes or 6 doors that I could, leverage against right now. And maybe that shrinks my gap a little bit of, my cash flow each and every month. But also, like, it's there, it's security. And so that flexibility that's provided on the back end of real estate is pretty special. Not to mention, like, if I needed to move into it, I could. And obviously, then someone else isn't paying it. But at the end of the day, like, I'm going to have 5, 10, 15 assets that someone else has paid the majority of. And you say, well, you have a down payment. Well, I started this whole journey with 0 money down, as I had the seller, that back in the kiddie condo loan days, the seller paid the down payment. I got into my first home. My dad was a real estate agent as well, so he kicked in a little bit of his commission. I think he still pulled a little commission out of that, and we're off to the races. And then I refinanced that house. And you guys have heard my story so many times, but that's all came from other people paying that mortgage down and leveraging that asset. And then, I cash out refinance once, and then I eventually sold it and turned that into 3, now 5, now 6, 7, total doors, including my primary residence, and more to come. And I just have so much flexibility. If something were to happen, I could sell one of the properties, or I could, take a HELOC out, or, whatever. And I can continue to invest in those properties and build them up because someone else is paying that principal. Someone else is paying for the improvements because I do cash flow on all of them. So the flexibility on the back end of real estate investment, although on the front end, it seems like a huge risk. And how am I going to pay this mortgage? How am I going to do this as rents kind of increase and you can, pour into those properties, keep them up to date, keep them in good condition, provide a good solid place for someone to live while they get on their feet. Hopefully they become homeowners. That's the biggest thing with my tenants, is I really encourage them to not be my tenants forever, even though I love my great tenants. Home ownership is across the board something that I absolutely believe in. And so as you continue to see that flexibility and you understand, then it makes a lot more sense why that net worth is so much greater, 40x greater, homeowner to renter. So that's kind of all I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are interested, I guarantee you in the next 24 months, you could become a homeowner with the right, job, the right credit repair if you need that. But we have to have the conversation now so we can start to do that and get you into a home so that you can kind of be on that, 40x wealth building journey versus, always, living, rent to rent and doing that and paying for someone else's wealth, because you are building wealth. It's just not always your own if you're renting. So that's why I do this. That's why I love what I do. It's why it changed my life, is because I was able to see the big picture. I was able to make those sacrifices early on. I paid some mortgage bills that I didn't really have the money to pay at some point when, in between tenants and, when tenants went bad, but it all worked out. And it's because of the, steadfast principal buy down and obviously the appreciation that happened in the market. All right. So it's all about flexibility. But as we conclude, please check out this video on the end screen, all about the first investment property, which absolutely sucks, but it's necessary to get to the second and the third and the fourth. As you build equity, as you do that, all it does is give you options. So if you're interested in options, let's chat, DM me, call me, text me, whatever you need to do. But I want to make every single person watching this video a homeowner within the next 24 months. Can't wait to talk to you. We'll talk to you soon. Jeremy Kane, eXp Realty. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.